Hi, this is Gabriel Arruda with ReverseAutoimmune.com, and this is the top 10 foods causing autoimmune fatigue. And I want to start by saying anything that causes leaky gut and gut dysbiosis is going to eventually lead to autoimmune fatigue. And so keep that in mind as we go through these foods. In case you don't know what leaky gut or gut dysbiosis is, leaky gut essentially is a condition in which the villi that line the small intestine are damaged and begin to separate and cause holes to occur inside of your small intestine, inside of your gut. And this causes all kinds of undigested food particles, bad bacteria, viruses perhaps, to leak out of your gut and actually make it into your bloodstream and then travel to every part of your body. And so this is one of the foundational issues of autoimmune diseases. Gut dysbiosis, however, is a microbial imbalance inside of your gut. So our gut is filled with bacteria, beneficial bacteria and some bad bacteria. And your life actually depends on the right balance of this bacteria. And gut dysbiosis is when that bad bacteria unbalance and start to gain the dominance inside of the gut. Normally the good bacteria has the dominance, but in dysbiosis, the bad comes up, and that creates a whole host of problems. So just keep that in mind. All right, food number 1. It's not actually a food, but it's something that you consume. So I included it in the list, and that is alcohol. Now the reason why alcohol contributes to autoimmune fatigue is because alcohol depletes you of your B vitamins. Now B vitamins are a big issue for those with autoimmune diseases. And typically autoimmune patients are already deficient in B vitamins due to possibly methylation issues or perhaps just even a poor diet. And so you need all the B vitamins you can get, especially when you have autoimmunity. And alcohol depletes those. Not just that, alcohol is hard on the liver, and liver dysfunction is also very common with people with autoimmune diseases. And the reason why this is because the liver is really the first organ that gets hit with whatever is coming out of the gut, whether it's good or bad. And gut dysbiosis, that microbial imbalance in the gut, has been found its presence has been found in every instance in which its presence has been investigated in an autoimmune disease. So it's safe to say it's in probably pretty much every single person that has an autoimmune disease. And so that microbial imbalance is going straight to the liver, and it's hard on the liver, and so the liver takes a big hit with autoimmune diseases. So you don't want to overburden your liver. Alcohol adds an additional burden on the liver. But wait a minute, don't doctors say that a little wine is good for your health? Well, mistakenly they do. There are some good elements in wine, but these elements are found also in, guess where? Grape juice. And those good elements namely are resveratrol and flavonoids. They're found in wine, but they're also found in the grape juice. But when you get it from the grape juice, freshly squeezed grape juice that is, you're getting it minus the alcoholic fermented content, which is hard on the liver, depletes the B vitamins, leading to autoimmune fatigue. Okay, food item number 2 is animal fat, which is going to be on meat. And studies are showing that animal fat actually causes leaky gut. They found that even a single meal containing saturated fat from animal foods causes the breakdown of the lining of the small intestine, aka leaky gut. And this elevated fat intake is also associated with elevated serum, androgen, and estrogen levels. And this is going to lead to breast cancer, colon cancer, and prostate cancer. So if you don't get hit with the autoimmunity, you got cancer that you also have to watch out for as well. And not just that, meat has been found to be particularly high in a particular estrogen called estradiol. Now, estradiol has been shown to induce tumors in animal studies. And so it's implicated with causing tumors, cancer, and even possibly inducing autoimmunity in humans. Okay, food item number 3, dairy. Dairy is more and more becoming an allergenic food. More and more people are having problems with dairy. Let's tackle the first issue with dairy: growth hormones. Most dairy in the US is going to contain Monsanto's genetically engineered recombinant bovine growth hormone, also known as RBGH and also RBST. The milk from these cows contains up to 10 times higher levels of IGF-1, which is a hormone that's considered to be a very high risk factor for cancers. The second issue with dairy is estrogen. Now, estrogen is a big factor in those who have developed autoimmune diseases. For instance, several studies looking into how hormones have affected the disease lupus have found that estrogens actually enhance autoimmunity. That's been clearly found in studies. So estrogen, the elevated estrogen that's found in meat, is an issue. Okay, the third issue with dairy and really meat in general is antibiotic use. Higher incidences of infected udders in these dairy cows has resulted in the greater need of antibiotics. And there also have been found higher amounts of pus in dairy due to these infected udders. But this higher infection amount in the cow udders has caused for the need of more antibiotic use. And as a matter of fact, the FDA came out with a statistic that found that 80% of the antibiotic use in the United States was due to, you guess which group? Not seniors, not retired folks, farm animals. And so farm animals are filled with antibiotics. And so this, of course, is antibiotics are a chemical. They cause problems. They wipe out your good gut bacteria, and which contributes to gut dysbiosis. We talked about that earlier. And so you want to stay away from as many antibiotics as possible. You certainly don't want to be eating it in your food. And so that's the third reason that dairy is an issue leading to autoimmune fatigue. Food number 4, coffee. Again, coffee isn't exactly a food, but it's something we consume, so I included it in the list. Now you might be thinking, wait a minute, I thought coffee gave me energy. Well, short term, it does. That's how it feels like. However, recent studies are finding that over time, coffee actually brings your energy level down to a subnormal energy level when you're not drinking it. So when you're not on coffee, what should be normal energy level here is actually down here now. Therefore, when you do drink it, you feel like you're getting an energy boost, but all it's doing is taking you from that subnormal level up to where you should be naturally, up to a normal level. So it feels like you're getting an energy boost, and maybe you go, a smidge above your normal energy level, but it's really not that much. It's actually just bringing you up to where you should be. Not just that, coffee abnormally stimulates the central nervous system. This is not good. It decreases blood flow to the frontal lobe by about 27%. And also, coffee actually worsens psychiatric illnesses such as depression and anxiety. And these are big issues with autoimmune diseases because there's often neurological damage. And so depression and anxiety are they're factors of autoimmune diseases. So you don't want to worsen those symptoms. And so when you back up and look at the overall picture, coffee actually takes energy away, even though at the time of drinking it, it feels like there's an initial boost. But when you look at the big picture, it's an energy depleter. It's an energy zapper. So that's another reason why it contributes to autoimmune fatigue. Food number 5, refined sugar. So junk foods feed your bad gut bacteria. Now you might be asking, okay, so why is that bad? Well, this is important because bad gut bacteria actually eats vitamins and minerals and nutrients, and it excretes toxins. And so this is terrible. When you have an overabundance of bad bacteria, you're eating, perhaps some good quality food, it's going in you. That bad gut bacteria is actually eating it before your small intestine has a chance to absorb it. So it's like a little robber living inside of your gut that's stealing your vitamins and nutrients before you can get to it. So this is terrible. And some of these are your B vitamins. And when you're deficient in B vitamins, that's going to lead to neurological issues, depression, anxiety, possibly even insomnia. And both of those are hits on your energy level. You don't feel like getting up and exercising when you're depressed. And anxiety is just an energy depleter. You're over anxious, you're stressed, and obviously bad sleep is going to affect your energy level. Not just that, they eat your nutrients, but like I mentioned, they excrete toxins. Now these toxins are going to be an additional burden to your body and your immune system, and that is going to cause an energy deficit in your body. It's going to be an energy ding. You're going to take a hit in your energy by your body having to give attention and trying to deal with these toxins. And the more the gut bacteria there are, the more toxins your body has to deal with, and the system can literally become overwhelmed. And you'll see things like rashes, headaches, and different manifestations come as a result of these toxins just overwhelming the system. So anything that feeds your bad gut bacteria is going to affect your energy level at some point. Food item number 6, modern wheat. Wheat is one of the main culprits leading to leaky gut. And anything that contributes to leaky gut is eventually going to contribute to an autoimmune disease and any fatigue you have as a result of that autoimmune disease. Now, wheat is the most common food I see pop up in food sensitivity tests. Whether I'm looking over myself or someone tells me what's on their test, wheat is the one that pops up over and over and over. It was on my food sensitivity test, and it's on virtually every one that I look at or hear about. And the reason why it is because it's often sprayed with pesticides and chemicals, but not just that, wheat has been mutation bred. Mutation breeding methods are used with the creation of have been used with the creation of modern wheat. And how that works is the genetic breeders, they actually have hit the whole DNA strand of wheat with radiation and chemicals. And they've done this with for the explicit purpose to induce mutant variations. And they take these variations and they use it in the wheat. And when you think about it, wheat, it's technically not a GMO crop. However, it's probably been more genetically modified than a lot of GMO crops out there because the whole DNA strand has been affected, and the mutation breeders don't even know all of the mutations. They're not required to know even all the mutations that have taken place in the wheat. And so it's a completely unregulated field, and probably the reason why so many people are having problems with it. And so when it comes into the body doesn't recognize it, and the body attacks it. It treats it like a foreign invader, like a pathogen. And this attack leads to chronic inflammation in the small intestine. And the lining of the small intestine breaks down, leading to leaky gut. And of course, with leaky gut comes the development of autoimmunity. So anything that is contributing to that, contributing to leaky gut, is contributing to autoimmunity and the fatigue that comes as a result of it. And I talk to lots of people that say they feel so much better when they stop using modern wheat. Food number 7, GMO soy. Anything GMO is going to be drenched in Roundup. It's going to have Roundup all over it. Roundup is toxic. Let me give you an example. One of the deadly poisons included in Roundup is glyphosate. And glyphosate, to give you an example of why glyphosate is bad, glyphosate was one of the chemicals involved in Agent Orange. Agent Orange, of course, was used by the US government in Vietnam when we used chemical warfare against the people in that war, and some of our own boys got sprayed with that stuff. And so think about this. In 1 decade, we're using glyphosate for chemical warfare. 2 decades later, we're putting it in our food. Sound like a good idea? No, that's not a good idea. And so naturally people are having issues when they're eating food that's been doused with Roundup that has glyphosate in it. And not just that, it's a GMO crop, which means it's been modified at a cellular level. And so often these crops that have been modified at a cellular level, the body identifies them as a pathogen, a foreign invader. It does not recognize it. And that's why so many people are having food allergies to it, why the body's producing antibodies against these things. It doesn't know what it is. It looks foreign. And this, of course, this antibody production, this attack going on in the small intestine produces inflammation, leading to leaky gut, leading to whatever fatigue comes as a result of the leaky gut. And just on a personal level, GMO soy was one of the things that caused pretty regular headaches in me. And I found that the more processed it was, the quicker I would get a headache. So GMO soy contributing to autoimmune fatigue. Okay, food number 8, GMO corn. besides having Roundup drenched all over it, which again, we already discussed, you understand now why it's really, really bad. Corn, GMO corn, has been genetically engineered to produce its own insecticide inside of it. And this is called Bt toxin. And what it does is it causes the stomachs of insects to explode after they take a bite out of the crop. So what do you think it's going to do to your stomach? Corn is a big issue with leaky gut. Non-organic GMO corn is a big issue with leaky gut. And because of this, because this Bt toxin, the Environmental Protection Agency actually regulates corn as an insecticide. Think about that. Do you want to be eating food that our government is actually regulating as an insecticide? Not good. And on top of that, it's genetically modified, so it's going to cause the same problems as all the other GMOs. The body's not going to identify it, and it's going to attack it, and it's going to lead to inflammation and leaky gut and fatigue that comes along with that. As a matter of fact, one of the worst migraines I have ever had was after I ate a non-organic corn tortilla. I felt like my head was going to explode. And so that's headaches, but also showing how what's going on in the gut often gets manifest in the head. And so because of that gut-brain connection that's going on there. And so GMO corn, it's going to damage your gut, it's going to lead to autoimmune disease, it's going to lead to fatigue. Food number 9, peanuts. Have you noticed all the people allergic to peanuts, especially children? There's a reason for that. Did you know that the number of people who have become allergic to peanuts in the last 13 years has quadrupled? That's right, people with peanut allergies has more than quadrupled, as a matter of fact, in the last 13 years. Peanuts are often grown in warm, humid environments, such as the South, and this easily facilitates the growth of fungus on the peanuts. And the fungus on the peanuts produces a deadly poison called aflatoxin, and that's on the peanut, and when people eat it, they often have serious issues as a result of ingesting this aflatoxin. But not just that, something interesting about peanuts, I didn't realize this until I was shown how peanuts are grown. Peanuts actually grow below the ground. They grow in the soil like a potato or something like that. And peanuts are often rotated with GMO cotton crops. They often rotate those crops. And GMO cotton crops receive several applications of Roundup, glyphosate, douses. They receive several applications of that stuff. And that stuff gets turned into the soil, and the soil becomes toxic and contaminated. And the peanuts literally grow in that environment. They just soak that stuff up when they're growing. And this is what I think is quite likely the reason why people are having so many peanut allergies, why it's more than quadrupled in the last 13 years. And again, anything that is doused in those deadly chemicals is going to get attacked in the small intestine. It's going to lead to leaky gut, which is going to lead to autoimmune fatigue. Food number 10, fish. Now, why fish? The issue is mercury. Nearly all fish and seafood contain some amount of mercury. And friends, there is no safe amount of mercury for human consumption. And mercury has been specifically shown to induce autoimmunity in mice studies, and it is strongly implicated in the development of autoimmunity in humans. Heavy metals are known to compromise the immune system, and that's going to lead to an autoimmune disease, an immune system dysfunction. Now, you might be thinking, well, what if I get that fresh caught Alaskan fish? Unfortunately, it's still an issue because fish have huge migration routes. They could travel hundreds, if not even thousands of miles. And the place they were prior to being caught in some nice open ocean area could have been an absolute dump, a cesspool. Could have been right by one of those big pipes that's dumping sewage right into the beach. And so it's not safe because you're not exactly sure where they were before. And almost all seafood is showing up with some amount of mercury. Oh, and here's the thing to consider about the fish. the larger the fish or the larger the predator, the further up the food chain you go, and with the fish, the higher the amount of mercury. And that's because the predator fish are eating the smaller fish, and it's eating their concentrated mercury as well. And so it's doubling, it's exponentially growing the amount of mercury that's in the predator fish. One of the worst ones is tuna. Tuna is one of the worst fish for mercury contamination, and that's such a commonly consumed fish as well. So fish, mercury, autoimmune disease, autoimmune fatigue. Okay, so you might be thinking, well, what can I eat? Is there anything left I could eat? Absolutely. There's lots of good stuff you could eat. What you want to do is you want to focus on an organic, non-GMO, plant-based diet. There's lots of wonderful variety of foods that you can still have. Now, if you have leaky gut or gut dysbiosis, you have to get that healed first. You got to get that fixed first. Otherwise, even the most healthful food is not going to really benefit you as much as it needs to. And if you have any questions about how to heal that, if you have any questions about how I eat or different foods you can eat on the diet I just explained, a organic, non-GMO, plant-based diet, you can go to our website, reverseautoimmune.com. I hope this video has been helpful. May you be blessed in your pursuit of health.